everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and I wanted to continue my reviews of giant ape films with Mighty Joe Young. And this is a 1949 film, and it is somewhat of a follow-up to King Kong and Son of Kong, mainly because the people involved are all reunited from those films. You've got Marion C. Cooper, who was a producer, and he came up with a storyline for Mighty Joe Young. The script was written by Ruth Rose, who was a co-writer on King Kong and the scriptwriter for Son of Kong. It's directed by Ernest Schoedsack, who was a co-director on King Kong and the director of Son of Kong. And the cast includes Robert Armstrong, who played Carl Denham in the first two Kong films. He plays a man named Max O'Hara this time out. And the special effects are once again done by Willis O'Brien, although this time out he's more of a supervisor. Most of the animation on this film was done by Ray Harryhausen, who went on to do bigger and better things by himself. The plot of this film revolves around another giant ape. This time he's named Joe Young. His name comes from the fact that he's owned by a girl named Jill Young, who was living in Africa and is approached by Max O'Hara, the Robert Armstrong character, to bring Joe Young to Hollywood, where he's opening a grandiose nightclub called the Golden Safari. And he plans to build a show around Joe Young because Jill basically can tell Joe what to do and he'll do it. So, of course, him being the wonderful entrepreneur that he is, Max O'Hara builds this whole show around the Mighty Joe Young concept, calling him Joseph Young. The plot's pretty much, I don't want to say it's a redo of King Kong, but there are a lot of similarities where you take the ape from the wilderness to civilization and all hell breaks loose. But this time out, things are made a little more family-friendly. This movie's a lot less tragic than King Kong, and even less tragic than Son of Kong, even though that film was more comedic in nature. And while the special effects in this film are a lot better than Son of Kong, and arguably better than King Kong, although they're not quite as detailed as King Kong, it sort of rings hollow. It's not a bad movie, don't get me wrong. It's just, it's well-worn territory by this point, and while it's faithfully done and everybody's got their heart and soul in it, it just doesn't have the same punch as King Kong, and certainly doesn't even really have the same punch as Son of Kong in some instances. And once again, the ending seems sort of tacked on. Ben Johnson plays a man named Greg in this film. This is actually his first starring role, and his acting is just terrible. Terry Moore is pretty good. Robert Armstrong is once again the star of the show. He is just chewing up the scenery in this film, and he's just a delight to watch. After watching 3 of his films in a row, I might want to check out some of the other things that he's been in. I don't know that he plays such grandiose characters in any of his other movies, but I like him as an actor. And coincidentally, I believe about 8 days ago, he would have celebrated his 120th birthday. So that's kind of cool. He passed away in 1973. So this is more family-friendly, but it just sort of rings hollow. Still, it's a good movie, especially if you're into the giant ape genre, if there is such a thing. If you like, movies about creatures that have gone wild in civilization, definitely a movie to check out. And if you're somebody with kids and you want to let them watch something, this might work, although there are some scenes where Joe kind of isn't so friendly with some lions, and there seems to be sort of a disregard for the safety of animals in the production of this film. Joe picks up a lion and tosses him, and of course, obviously, Joe is a miniature model, but there is one scene where a lion gets dropped from a considerable height onto a table, and it doesn't look like it felt so good for the lion. So, but maybe I'm just more sensitive about that than most other people. But anyway, Mighty Joe Young, definitely worth picking up if you're a fan of these types of films. I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. Same thing that I gave Son of Kong. I like this one better in some aspects and less in others. but neither of these films can hold a candle to the original and King Kong. So there you go. That's my review of Mighty Joe Young. Stay tuned for more video reviews of movies, video games, and music coming at you. As always, please feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have, feel free to comment and rate the videos that you're watching. Thanks again, and have a good one.